Hey guys, it's Will. Hopefully you're having a great day today. In this one, we're going over BigBear.AI stock as they're up about 10% today, and we see the stock jump about a 15% swing. We were talking about this $5.50 support level yesterday, how they had been bouncing here throughout November, and there was a key level that we wanted to see them validate here. We did see them sell down this morning at market open, and then they recovered back up into the $6 price point that we were looking at yesterday. So as you can see, now RSI MACD looking now on the overbought side on the near term. It's possible they get rejected at this $6 price point. But what we're looking at here is potentially a nice bottom in something that could be a larger recovery up into that $7.25 to $7.50 or $8 range in the near term. Now, finding value in the stock market comes down to a few key indicators. And the top indicators that we like to use include the markets, the analysis, which is broken down into the news, the financials, and the charts, and then the profit plan or what projections we have when looking at the risk involved. And so when you're looking at the market for BigBear.AI, you can also look at the indicators that we have running for the big beautiful bill spending and some other upcoming events that will benefit defense companies. When the government reopened, you started to see more potential contracts, but ultimately you got some other mega events that BigBear.AI has said that they've been preparing for, like the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympics, where people are coming to America, and it's going to require tracking all of the people coming in and out of the US, which is where they have their Variscan technology deployed at Denver International Airport, LAX, they're at JFK, and many other airports. So they are doing this so that they can prepare for more AI type of contracts where they have these different products that are used by the governments, whether they're for tracking the Panama Canal or the borders, the entries, the exits of people going in and out of the US, or anything related to even hospital predictive intelligence. They have some AIs that allow hospitals to be able to tell where the patients should go and match up the patients with the right specialists without having to have a human know what's going on with scheduling and everything else. They're using AI for a lot of different things. They got Homeland Security as a main customer. They're working with the Pentagon, and they've had some contracts roll in. So the financial or the real world usage of the market looks good. The financials looked better this last quarter as far as net income. They came in positive. Revenue was down just a tad. The quarterly assets have surged to about $1 billion, and their liabilities are around just $250 million. So they have surged their cash up to, over 500 million, and they're up 794% year over year, while their liabilities have not increased very much, which is healthy. And we've been kind of watching very closely as they've ramped up their total cash. So the financials look good, and then that kind of brings us to the charts. So we could start with the news. The news that has recently come out has been that they've deployed at more airports, that they have gotten into Chicago, they've gotten to Nashville, they have deployed their AI vision into the Panama Canal as well. And then they've also recently acquired an AI company in their recent earnings. When they beat their earnings, they came out with an AI acquisition of a company called Ask Sage that already has partnerships with, thousands of US government sectors. They have 16,000 government teams and more than 100,000 users on Ask Sage. It's an AI platform for the government. They just acquired the company for $250 million in anticipation that will turn into more contracts for them. It seems like a risky one because, they're just acquiring a company at 10 times the amount that they're making annually, or that are expected to make annually in 2025. But maybe there's something bigger there with the contract potential or with the path for BigBear. So in that acquisition, along with beating earnings, the news looks fairly good. Did they overpay? Only time will tell. We'll see how that looks over the next few months. And then as far as news goes, there was also this TSA contract or request for information where TSA is expected to spend about $5.4 billion. And the financials right now, they don't have more than about 150 million a year in revenue right now, Big Bear. And their market cap's at about 2.4 billion, which is fairly relative, not too bad of a PE ratio given that they have about $1 billion in assets. So 2.4 billion market cap kind of puts it in perspective. There's a $5.4 billion request for information from TSA. Some of the things that TSA mentioned in this that they were looking for, so security at the airports, was reduce reliance on manual labor. That's incorporating AI-driven threat detection and remote screening, along with the biometric and digital ID platforms that are able to tell where someone's coming from, where they are going. And biometrics is exactly, this biometric ID is exactly what BigBear.AI does. And they're one of the top people to potentially get some more contracts from the Homeland Security division of the government. As you look at their CEO of Big Bear, previously the acting secretary of U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which could prove to be pretty good for their contract getting in the future. So kind of watching there, if they get some more contracts in that regard, they could see their revenue or their market cap get into that $5 to $10 billion if they're able to get a big chunk of that, which would put their price at around $10 to $20 a share. They have had some choppiness recently, and that kind of brings us to the charts. And as we get the charts going, let's just go ahead and search BigBear.AI in our AI. If you want to get your hands on technology that does AI analysis for you, all the things we normally go through, you don't have to stay up to date with the news or the financials or what's going on, but have AI just give you the rundown really quick and get it done with all of that analysis we were just going through on autopilot from models like Grok, OpenAI, Claude, or Gemini, then I would encourage you at least get on the first access list. It's going to be the first link below for the first access list. Now, when we're looking at some of the projections here into this level, we saw them get rejected at $6 just after hours here, kind of selling back down. The next resistance is right here around $6 a share. They're hovering between about $5.20 and $6 a share. If they can hold this 550 range we talked about yesterday, not only that, push up above $6 a share, then it might look like they can continue more of this overall uptrend. So right now you can see they were at $1 a share last year. We got in right around here, around $2.80. We started covering them around $1 a share. We've seen them get up to $10 a share, sell down to $2. We've seen them get up to $8 and sell down to $4, get up to $9, and then recently selling down to $5.50 again. And so with this level where they're kind of potentially recovering here into mid to late November, if they can break up above $6 and hold that level, as we were looking for them to break above $5.50 yesterday, they did do that. You're looking at, this type of move, getting up into this $7.50 range next. That's a 16% increase, or really a 20% increase from here, and potentially making their way up to $8.40. Let's see what the AI has to say. So when we got Grok pulled up, let's see, over the next 4 hours into the next day, it looks a little bit negative. You can see that Grok is saying that there is a resistance right around that $6 price point. And then you got some declining volume despite the price at $5.98. So watch out for that drop back down to that $5.50 range. Over the next week, again, $5.50 support level you want to watch as they got that resistance near $6 a share. So this is Grok. We give it all of the real-time data that these models normally don't have. You can tell it's giving us the full breakdown here. But ultimately, that's what we're talking about here. So breaking above this $6 price point is the most ideal. And then pushing back up into this $8 price point was where they're really bullish. Now, doesn't mean they're going to break out above $6. They have a resistance there. and we got to watch how they react towards the end of the week. But right now, in the overall trend, it looks like they've sold down and they're looking like a better deal than at other times. And so we're going to be watching them closely throughout the rest of this week, as I think the long term looks really good for this company. And I like to see them come in with these earnings that they just beat recently. So we'll watch closely. If you guys want to see us trade live every morning at Market Open, we are there. You can get access to our daily live trading, and you don't have to worry about it if you're trying to stay up to date all the time. We send the reminder straight to your email, so you can get that link. It's not here on YouTube, it's another place. You get in your email, and then you get into StockMate, where we got about 28 millionaires. There's a community there, but you also get a link to the live session each morning. And then you get the learning materials along with a free t-shirt when you join StockMate. So that'd be the second link down below. There's also some really great learning materials along with targets for the week. One of the great learning materials is this book that we wrote here. It's the philosophy of the profitable trader. So if you're looking to try and learn, let's say, the pathway to growing your mindset, ordinary, no plan, maybe you're emotional, maybe you got FOMO, versus having a plan, looking at the risk to reward, having a criteria. So entering a trade where your risk is maybe much smaller than that of your margin for profit. This is for the shorter term stuff. How to actually learn. What's an example of a trading plan? What does that kind of look like? You get this as a bonus when you're in StockMate. So if you ever want to get that along with emotional IQ, things like that, second link down below. Appreciate you all. Hopefully I earned your thumbs up. If I did, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.